Alright gentlemen, I'm going to go over this proposal via video to make it a little bit easier and discuss as much as possible. So the workers' compensation is what I have here in front, and it's pretty simple. This one is simple just simply because all we're covering is the business for if an employee gets injured while on the job, while working, and has any kind of claims towards the employer for the responsibility of those injuries. The workers' comp policy will cover the medical and any ongoing type of either rehab or treatment needed to cover that employee's injuries or illnesses. The limit is stated, but there are many times where this limit is exceeded and does not affect the policy itself when paying out for that employee. These are the max limits that we offer, and I always offer them to every employer. So we have $1 million for every accident, $1 million injury by disease, and $1 million policy limit for injury by disease. Okay? So this is all driven by payroll. So even though the premium is rather low at $871, it's because we're basically basing it off of these two class codes and a total payroll of about $120,000. If this needs to change, or if this is not right, that is what I need to know to make sure I modified the workers' comp proposal accurately. I need to know how many employees and how much we're paying the employees that are doing the actual sales, installation, and repair, and then also those that are just clerical employees as well, and what their payroll is. So these are numbers that have not been modified because I wasn't told anything different, or we don't have any estimates. Now this is audited, so even if we start with this and you pay $871 for the year, and let's say we paid more, they're going to go off of this payroll amount and multiply by the rates to actually get the amount that should be paid. So at the end of the policy period, they'll run an audit, and if you owe more, then you'll pay the difference in one fail swoop. And of course, if you overpay, let's say you didn't pay as much as $120,000 in payroll, then of course you'll also get refunded money back. So workers' compensation, purely to protect the business from any lawsuits against an employee, against them by an employee that gets injured while on the job. So this is sole responsibility of the employer for the employee should they get injured while on the job. In the state of Texas, it's not a required coverage, but then of course it comes with that understanding that should there be an injury that happens while on the job, the employer can be fully responsible for that themselves and pay out of pocket. So the workers' comp is very big in protecting a business that way. The second proposal that I gave you that we updated based on some numbers that was given to me by Asif in our call is the business owner's package, or the BOP policy. So this went from about $2,500 to $12,500. So it's about 6 times more premium, but for much more higher amount when it comes to the gross sales and to the amount of the equipment that's covered in the premises. This includes inventory and any other type of furniture. So things that are going to be important, like we discussed, are going to be like the business income. If we have some kind of loss that impedes the business to actually operate and affects income, we can be replacing that with this policy here. We cover up to 12 months actual loss sustained with a 0-hour waiting period. We cover outdoor signage, outdoor property, tenant's glass, valuable papers. Some other really important coverages under the liability limits, which are right here, are going to be those products and completed operations aggregate, which is what we spoke about. Should the business have a lawsuit regarding one of the products that was delivered to a business because it was an explosion or malfunction or something, this policy jumps in to actually protect the business. And then, of course, settle if need be. Employment practices liability. Right now we have the minimum coverage here, so we can actually increase this if we'd like. This is for if the employer is sued for allegations of sexual harassment, wrongful termination, discrimination, things like that. We have an actually built into our business owner's package for at least $10,000 right now. but can easily increase that should we need to. We also have data breach coverage also at our minimum amount of about $20,000 for the response expense limit, and then $50,000 for defense and liability limit. So not a whole lot of coverage, but it's already built in and it's minimum. I could increase these if you like. So I'm not sure what a thieves concern is as far as like, did we miss anything? As far as the main things, the business personal property is one of those main things, and one of the bigger drivers of this premium is because we are covering about $500,000 worth of product inventory or equipment or furniture inside of this location. And the other driver is going to be the annual sales, which we have now quoted at $7 million. Okay, so with those two items, that's where we get a majority of our income. I mean, a majority of our premium derived from this policy. The rest are still going to be those built-in package coverages that can be modified individually if there's certain things that we want covered. It's easier for me to understand what are the other things that we want to make sure are covered, but as you can see with this proposal, we're looking at, any kind of general liability claim, whether it has to do with the products themselves and completed operations or the premises. If there's someone that actually comes and visits the premises and has an accident and wants to sue for those damages, you're covered for that. Business income, so if you have a loss that impedes business income, that's covered by this policy. I think most of these policies our payroll is covered for up to 60 days. And along with that, there are a number of other package coverages that come into play for when those losses happen. For example, if we acquire a new building immediately, we have $1 million of coverage for up to 180 days should we fail to let me know in this acquisition, for example. So, there's a lot of things that automatically are included in the business owner's package that come into play should a loss happen. Extended business income is another one. Maybe the first 90 days of ramping up the business after it's suffered a loss and is recovering may not be up to normal, so we cover those first 90 days also coming back to business. So I don't know if you guys have any other further questions. These are other additional coverages or increases in coverages that we can review and add if we'd like. It just depends on what we're wanting to make sure is covered. I'm hoping that what we've already offered looks like something that is doable for you all, and will cover the business as you see fit. But if there are other avenues or other things that we need to look at, please let us know. Probably the only other one that we can maybe think of that may benefit your specific business is going to be increasing this cyber liability coverage, which is right here, this data breach coverage, just because of the nature of your type of business. If there's any kind of data breach, you can have coverage to fully protect the business for any type of lawsuits, fines, or regulatory fees or anything like that. So with that, just let me know if you guys have any further questions. I try to keep this video as prompt, as short as possible, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. So let me know if you have any other questions, and we can move forward as soon as you guys are ready. Thank you very much.